Hey everybody, I give you a heads up early in the clip. I'm going to talk about poop. So click away and, if you're grossed out by things like that, I will also want to speak not only, but very seriously to people who are working in the battle with hardcore diagnosis. Diagnosis like cancer, AIDS, diabetes, it can go on and on. If you are battling a diagnosis that ends in death, or that they have given you a death sentence that's not really a good way to put it, end of life date, then that's who I'm talking to. And when I first was diagnosed in 2004 and given that year to live, I started to watch and look for out-of-the-box kinds of answers, because obviously the medical community was not going to give us a cure, right? Because if there were a cure, then there wouldn't be a disease. So if there's not a disease, then there is a lot of people out of some jobs. And I know they don't think about that, and I hope that everyone involved in the medical cancer field, they're very much about helping people. But ill-equipped, I think. They don't know enough about cancer. I'm not saying that I do know about cancer. I do know what feeds cancer and what starves it and what makes it not want to be in this environment called this is my body. It's your body. You've been the one with given the diagnosis, right? Well, I started paying attention to what I said, those out-of-the-box thoughts. And there was an internist who had put out a video, and I've hunted, and I'm going to have to go through my old VHS tapes and see if I can find it. But he gave a lecture about poop. And his whole thing was about sink or stink. Do you sink and do you stink? If your poop doesn't float and if it smells bad, which, as Americans, we must flush that shit down as quick as we can get it, because it doesn't smell good. And I'm not saying American poop stinks worse than anywhere else. I don't have a clue. I don't even have a clue how Americans poop smell, because we try and flush it as quick as we can, right? So, okay, so this internist discussion about sink or stink, that the goal for a clean, healthy internal body, which can maintain an environment that cancer does not like to be around, the goal is to get your poop to float and smell okay. So I start reading the Bible, and they're talking about making sacrifices of bull and sheep and drinking the urine through time. There's only two things I documented every single day. One is how many glasses of urine I drank that day, and the second is whether I sunk or floated. I put an S or an F that day. Once, sinking or a floating day. And if you start to drink it, you start to watch the shape and consistency of your feces, and your BMs look different through time. And amazingly, occasionally you will flush a bull with no blemish, meaning it is this perfectly beautiful. You might get a dinosaur once in a while, or little rats, a whole bunch of little sheep. Yeah, and it's not, boy, I'm going to get some insane comments this time. It's okay, guys. I can handle some comments. But anyway, poop is really, you can figure out what's going on inside your body by looking at your poop, guys. I'm not saying pull it out and squish it around and smell it and rub it on the wall. Yuck. I'm just saying get in touch with your own ability to shed what we call waste. Is it looking like waste? And sure enough, you better flush that shit quick, you know? Or is it something that it's almost pretty sometimes? It's pretty shit. Smells like lilacs. Okay, no. But you'll get days where there is little to no smell. Now, granted, most of it's in water, and that's why we poop in the water, to get that smell doused quick, right? Anyway, so I've noticed through time, as my body's been healing with the urine therapy, and I believe the cancer is getting less comfy hanging out in my body, I float almost all the time now. I will have an occasional day. I pay attention to what I eat. What's causing it to stink? I mean, sink, sink or stink. You know, what causes it? Is it when I eat meat? Is it because of possibly the stress? You know, I'm watching all kinds of elements that come into effect. Now, like I said, if I say anything about that, the factors in my life are completely different than yours. We could have a lot in common, but I've had almost 54 years of life to build. And so have you. You've had years of life, you know, so it's different. We're all different. And nothing wrong with any of us, really. Only thing I can think of is that we don't understand yet. But we will. We're getting there. I'm not saying I am. But I feel better sleeping on the floor, and I'll just look over there. Sleeping on the floor and keeping that poop from stinking and sinking. I know. Gross. Love you guys.